Okay, teaching someone to spell. Ask them how they learn a word and then ask them how well that's working for them. If it's working for them, no problem. And even so, you might be able to tell them actually they are on the right track. A lot of the time they're on the right track, but they give up too soon. They think that it takes just one effort, one attempt at learning to spell a word to get it right, and they forget about the practice side of things. Train them word by word by coaching them. Discuss the word, look at that particular word. How can you break that up? Are there any other things in there that might help you remember it? There's one my English teacher used to teach us. There's a rat and separate. So in the middle of separate, there's A-R-A-T. All those little things can help someone learn. And even just the process of discussing that can help them. Give them time to think. Look for words within words. You might suggest pronouncing it differently just to help it stick. Ease, to remember that that's an I in the middle of easier. There's all sorts of things you can do like that. Look at the syllables, but don't get too stuck on where exactly the syllable gets broken up. As long as it makes sense, that's what matters. It's a learning tool. It's not about being perfect in terms of grammar. Practice the word, cover it up, try it again. And you can do this on the phone just as easily. Tell them to cover it up. Well, first of all, what you do on the phone is you ask them to get a pen and to write out what you spell out to them. Then you get them to spell it back to you so that you know they've written it down correctly. And then you say, now cover that up. Now write it underneath. Now check it against the correct copy. Is it the same? Is it different? Where's it different? Okay, so you got most of it right. You've only got to learn this little bit there. And cover it up again. Have another go. When they get it right, tell them to put a tick next to it. And if they get it wrong, just leave it and go on to the next one. The reason for the tick is you've probably all sometimes written yourself a to-do list and put in things you've already done just so you can tick them off. Ticks are nice. It's good to give yourself ticks. And often our students have had very few ticks in their life, so encourage them to tick when they get it correct. That matters. And we use a spelling practice sheet, which will be in the documents on the training. There's room for 3 words, and you can get these sent to your student if it's a remote student. The office will send them. You just need to go to do for coaches, I think it is, in Slack, and ask for someone to send 10 spelling sheets to your student. Then when you're working with them, you talk to them and you say, what's a good time for you to practice your spelling? And do you have someone that will help you with your spelling? Now, if you've got a teenage boy and they've got a sister, you watch the smile on their face or hear it in their voice when you suggest that their sister be the one that tests them. Because that girl will not let it go. And the boy knows that. As well as talking about what's a good time to do it and who might help them, or if they want to do it by themselves, that's fine too. Point out that the sheet says spelling practice. It doesn't say spelling perfect. The idea is to give a tick in every square where they have practiced that word on that day. It's not to write the words out in those little boxes, it's just to put a tick to show that you've done the practice. And it becomes really obvious when you look at a student's practice sheet, or if they look at it, that they haven't done much practice and gee, they're struggling with the word. Or they have done the practice and gee, they actually got the word like that. So the spelling practice sheet is really, really important. It helps the students a great deal in terms of getting into good habits and basically supporting themselves. Now, if they start making mistakes after they've been getting it right, then you normalize that too by telling them you're probably getting tired. Learning is hard work, which it is. We all know that. And you start making mistakes when you get tired. That doesn't mean you weren't learning. It means you need to give yourself a break. You can use analogies like sport. For rugby, you don't do too much on the first day. Otherwise you just about can't walk the next day, and it puts you off practice. So it's a good thing to point out to people that if they go home and they can't remember the word that they've just practiced with you, or if they go away and then that night they can't remember it, they go to practice and they can't remember it, that's normal. It's why they have to practice it for 5 days, because learning is a process of learning and then forgetting and then learning and forgetting. There's nothing wrong with them. They're no different from anybody else if that happens. This is the kind of thing that other people know that our literacy students don't know. Be very, very careful about choosing big words to teach people, or not. Try as much as possible to choose words from the student's own writing. They may want to learn the big words and things like that, but the words that they will use most often are the words that they have in their vocab and that they have tried to write. And that comes to actually another good point, is that encourage them to use words that they don't know how to spell but would use in their normal talking when they write, because sometimes you can look at a student's writing and you can see they're just using short words and easy words, and so there's nothing wrong, but it's not the way they would express themselves if they could spell the bigger words. Sometimes you see the beginning of one word crossed out and then an easier word put there, which can be a clue as well. So you are encouraging them to try to take risks and so that you can help and so that they can learn. And so those words that come from their writing really matter. There are lists of the first 100 words, and that's a guide for you. If there's lots and lots of words in their writing that are wrong, then you might choose the most common ones first. And those are likely to be the old Anglo-Saxon words that don't sound out, like were and was and words like that. Try to use the words from the students' writing as their spelling words.